Hello, everyone. My name is Eric. I am glad that you are here to spend time with us. This is my co host,
Hi, I'm Quinn. Glad to get to know all of you.
and this is our first episode of our podcast, The Innocent Babble of Caffeinated Jackals. We're just doing a kind of like life update. It's a way for us to spend a little bit more time together and, do something together, as well as just catch up and talk about fun stories that we've been dealing with throughout our lives, as well as just mess around and talk about stuff that's happening in the world and kind of get, our opinions and stuff out there. Outside of that, I mean, we're just basically doing this for fun. So, you know,
Because why the hell not? Everyone else in our generation's doing it.
exactly. That's the way I feel about it. Can't do anything wrong if you're doing it right. So, in the past week or so, or 2 weeks since we came up with this idea and this string line of nonsense, I guess is the best way to put it. Uh, we've had some stuff happen in all of our lives, and mine starts off with I don't normally do the whole like let's have a bunch of people over and party, and like we did that, and well, truth be told, it was our roommate who did that, but I will be there and activate because I like these people as much as I like spending time alone. People are important, so they do this like whole day activity starting from like 12 o'clock to like I think it was like 2 in the morning by the time this thing was over. And the next morning we had to be up at 9:30 for D&D, so it wasn't like we were going to get to sleep in the next day after having a bunch of people over. But so 12 o'clock they're over. I think they're here for like 2.5 hours, and they're like setting up a cheese board, carving pumpkins, having a good time, laughing and giggling. I come downstairs to talk to people. And I think a group of them go for like a apple picking and orchard thing to do cute girl fall stuff. I don't get it, but it's whatever. Then we move into like the 4 o'clock hour. They go to have dinner. I go upstairs to play video games. Ignore all responsibilities. Leave the door unlocked. Just walk up the stairs. Call it quits. At this point, I've had like 8 shots of alcohol in a glass, and I'm just like, it's fine. Drinking that while playing video games with friends. And it gets to like I think it's like 8:45. It's been 4 hours since I last heard noise downstairs, and they're all getting back. They started dance party. I'm not in any sort of physical shape to do a dance party, but I was told I had to, and I was like, I guess I'm here for it.
Oh, don't say that as if you don't dance on any other given Tuesday.
Look, I wasn't expecting to have to crump, all right? I didn't do stretches, I don't do nothing, all right? And then we got to a point where they put on apple bottom jeans, and we had to drop it low, and I dropped it low, and I hit the bottom of my low, and I went to get back up, and my hamstring went, nope, and I was gone. And I was just like, I'm down now, committed. This is the ground.
Oh my god.
I told you it was a good story. And proceeding to go on from there, I get to get back up, and I'm like, I can't feel the back half of my leg. So I'm trying to like keep up the persona of like being just fine. But I'm so out of breath because I just felt my entire leg stop working for like 2 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
And on
This is
top of that,
why.
oh no,
Yeah.
go ahead, go.
See, this is why y'all aren't allowed to do shit without me. Because anytime I'm not there, people get hurt.
You want to know the worst part was?
Oh
Two
no.
minutes before that happened, I sliced my hand open on a knife in our kitchen.
Eric! No!
The worst part was I wasn't cutting with it. It was in a drawer. I went to put my hand in the drawer, but because it was so dark, I couldn't remember it was in there, so I just slid my hand across it.
Oh my goodness. This is why we can't have nice things.
Well, the good thing is I bought a first aid kit because the last time that happened was a year ago, so
Yeah, you bought the first aid kit after the last time it happened. I
yeah,
remember
well,
that.
yeah, I know because we had to spend 25 minutes trying to figure out how to stop my hand from bleeding.
Mind you, like, you got that after the first incident. Mind you, I, being, like, the straightest person I know, obviously, when I got my purse, uh, got immediately picked up a small first aid kit, some Advil, Tylenol, because you never know someone's preferences, like all that jazz. Because I pre-plan and then fail.
Yeah, of course. That's the only way it happens. I mean, like, that's like us going to like a big trip together as a group of friends, and like me and you like having to like find a solution to our problem.
Like New
Bec-
York.
yes, like New York. We need to do another big trip like that, by the way. Like, we
I
need to do like
100% agree.
a day slash weekend trip where like we rent a hotel room and have 5 of us stay in a hotel room together, because I feel like that would be hilarious and 100% something we need to do as adults.
So, like, for all of you who weren't in New York with our group at the
Oh
time, so
god.
like, we have a very, very tight knit group of friends from high school. And we get together all the time, we hang out, and then usually about like once or twice a year, for a while, we haven't done it in a while, we will we'll go on a trip. And so we went up to New York because there was a robotics competition there, and this was after we all graduated from high school, but in high school, that's how we met, was through First Robotics. Um, and so we're we decided to stop in, like, see all the teams and everything. I think we saw, like, 1 or 2 people we actually knew, and then we left, and we started traveling all around New York. Well, one thing to note is that, one of our friends is in a wheelchair, and so we always have to be mindful when on these big trips about making plans on paths to make sure everything's wheelchair accessible. Well, if you've ever been to New York, you know that it is almost impossible to find a restaurant that has wheelchair accessibility. And so we ended up getting lost in the middle of New York City. I don't even know. Do you remember which borough we were in?
Oh god, no. Are you kidding me? We walked in a direction and then walked until we found like a side set of like diners so that we could find something that wasn't like on the main boulevards, so that we could
Yeah,
find something that would like be lower to the ground.
yeah, exactly. And also because we were trying to find something relatively cheap because, broke college kids. Um, so we're walking and we get absolutely lost in New York City. And all of us have our phones, but like most of our group is was men, well, were men, English. Um, and so um none of us wanted to be the one to be like, "Oh, let's pull up directions." So I think it was our friend, I'll call her Allison, um, pulled up her phone finally after yelling at us that we were being buffoons and searched up a couple of restaurants. And so each of these restaurants that we walked to, none of them had, oh, all of them had stairs leading down to the restaurant. And so all of us getting tired, hungry, and bored, I end up going to the front of the group and leading with Allison to the next spot, and then Eric decides to go in the back of the group to like keep everyone up front because I walk like a New Yorker. Like I don't go slow.
It's
So
not even
Eric
just the
was
fact that you walk fast. It's the fact of the matter that you walk fast with drive. So like we're walking, and then all I've got like the strollers in the back, the ones who are like, "Oh my god, this city is so big," and you're like, "No, move, like hush, whip whip." Like I gotta be like a cattle driver, be like, "Whoosh, go." We are
exactly.
falling behind. We are 2 blocks behind them. How did this happen?
And like don't get me wrong, every like 20 minutes or so when we're like about a mile ahead, I would look back, be like, "Up, let's hold up."
Yeah.
So we finally did eventually find a restaurant and everything. I mean, this was a pretty anticlimactic story. However, like to us, we sat down. It was like the Last Supper. All of us sitting together. It was beautiful.
Wait, but that's not even the craziest part of that story. Do you remember the Ace Hardware run on the middle of the boulevard because our friend's
Yes.
chair wheel broke?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Because we were riding around in New York City, the roads are bumpy, and his wheelchair lug and the screw nut attached to it fell off. So we were down a whole wheel that holds the baseline of the chair. So you're trying to push this person up through New York with one missing a wheel. So we stop in a I don't remember, was it like an Arby's? Like we were just stopping anywhere to just be there for a short
And
period
of
of
course,
time.
we had to stop outside because there was no ramp.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like
No,
even
yeah,
the
yeah,
Ace
yeah.
Hardware, didn't have a ramp to it, so we're like trying to figure it out. But
No,
all of us
you went to Ace by yourself. The rest of us stood near the chair.
I could have sworn I went with someone.
You might have, but I remember I stayed with the chair because we were trying to figure out how we were going to put this back together by hand in the
You know
middle
what?
of New York City.
I did go with one of our friends, and I can't think of a creative name to call her. But I went in with her, and she had no idea like what she was doing, and I was like, "Oh, it's all good," and turned around to a guy. I was like, "Hey, we need this."
It was
So it was like a $5 bolt that we needed because the current bolt was stripped out, and
Oh, that's
so
right. That's right.
finally,
That was the reason it was all messed up.
yep, because we tried putting it back on in the middle of the street, and it did not work.
Nope.
So I think it was either you or this friend that I went in with, were holding the wheel onto the wheelchair as we're trying to get there.
We were struggling. We were praying for dear life. We got this fixed. I officially, by the way, have bought like a socket wrench kit for any time we travel anywhere, like
We
just in
called him the
case.
struggle bus.
Yeah, it was the struggle bus. Yeah, that's exactly what that was. That's what we felt. It was a human being. It was a feeling of doubt and remorse.
But we did it. We found
We
a
did
way
do
and
it.
we did
We
it.
also, yeah, we did, and I was actually pretty proud of us because normally we're not that coordinated.
No, but like, okay, no, normally the rest of them aren't, but let's face it, you're like the dad of the group, I'm like the mom.
Yeah, it's true. It's gotten even worse as I've gotten older. Like as I've gotten older, it's just gotten worse because now I'm even more prepared. I've gotten money because I work like a normal human being, and like now I just have money to do dumb stuff, which makes me more of a dad. Like I always have a toolkit.
I was the one at the frat parties that would clean up. Would see someone struggling, would sit down and be like, "Hey, hon, how you doing?" And then like see like broken glass or something, clean it up real quick so no one hurts themselves. This was only, of course, when I myself wasn't going batshit crazy. But
But that's the other thing, right? Like we're in a situation where our friend group, out of all of us in the friend group, you were the most. Well, that's not true. I would think it would be you and I can't think of a creative name for her. Uh,
I think I know who you're talking about, and I called
yeah.
her Allison in the story.
Okay, so you and Allison were the two that were that were the partiers.
That were the partiers.
Yeah.
Oh, nope, wrong Allison.
Okay, wrong Allison. Got it. So
I was thinking we're the mothers.
no, partiers. Like you're the two people who like actually partied. Like I went to
Oh.
like 4 parties in college in total, and I was there for 3 years. And one
Oh
of
my
them
God.
had my ex-girlfriend at it, so I wasn't even enjoying myself. I was just there to be petty.
See, I ended up getting rejected from a fraternity and then joined them 2 years later and partied the entire last 2 years of that. So,
Yeah, it was one of those things where you're sitting there and you're like, oh, you have crazy stories. Like I got stories, but you got like stories. You know what I'm saying? Like your stories are like, whoa. My stories are like, eh.
see, like, and it's funny because I've been told I'm the kind of person, like, if you walk up to me, you wouldn't think that I have stories, but like, I'm also the kind of person to nonchalantly be like, oh yeah, I was walking around the city at like 2 o'clock in the morning and a guy pulled a knife on me because he was hopped up on LSD. True
No,
story.
well, obviously. But no, I mean, like, you're also the person that when you walk into the party, I like the first time we had seen each other in what, 4 months? No, it was 3 months because you had just left a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago to go down to school.
Uh-huh.
And I walked in and I go, we have fuckboy Quinn.
Oh,
like,
see, no.
like I understand the leveling where it's like, oh yeah, obviously it's not you don't look like a person, but then you walk in and you're like, but I can see it. You
Like
know, you can
I
see it.
there don't get me wrong. I am not going to deny the fact that fuckboy Quinn exists. However, I dress like fuckboy Quinn a lot more often than I act like fuckboy Quinn.
Well, yeah, probably. I mean, it's the same thing of like, I'm not the egotistical, arrogant egomaniac that I am when I'm online, but that's only because when I'm online, I'm winning. I'm better than everybody else. Why wouldn't I be egotistical?
Oh, see, growing up in a family that likes to talk over each other, I'm used to talking to a wall. So being online is perfect.
Yeah, no, for me when like I'm online playing games, I'm so good or so much better than most people that like I'm just good. Like people have to deal with my ego, but I still have my personality. So it's like I got an ego, but like I'm not like typing in chat toxic like, you trash. It's like, no, my teammates are being, flamey, and I'm like, ha 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 ha, shut up. I
See,
am
that's where
carrying us through the win. Leave me alone.
that's where I'm the exact opposite of I am trash. I know I'm trash. So I talk like I'm the big shot. I'm like, all right, boys, let's get this going, get headshot right away, be like we got it. We caught that bullet.
And that's the other thing is like I'm also one of those people who has really hard time lying to my friends. So like games like Among Us and uh like Deceit are really hard for me because I don't lie when I'm with you guys. So
Oh,
when
you are only saying that so that the next time you know that most of our listeners are going to be our friends, and you're only saying that because you don't want them to suspect you.
no, I'm being serious. Like when I'm so bad at being the imposter because I don't like lying to people because then people learn how good at lying I am and then they don't trust me. And that's
See,
terrifying because I am really good at it and nobody would know, but I'm not going to do it because it's scary.
See, my big problem with playing especially Among Us is that when I'm not the imposter, if someone's like, "Oh man, Quinn's sus," I'm like, "Yeah, Quinn's really sus," and then I vote for myself. But when I am the imposter and am suddenly defending myself, that's when people get a little sus.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I enjoy Among Us, especially when you could just meme around and have a good time. But I also have the problem with Among Us where like it's only so fun for so long because eventually it just becomes a competition between who's good at lying and who's not. And I really
And
don't
who's
want to
good at
know.
picking?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Who's picking off people like a psychopath? I just don't want to be put in that situation where I have to tell my friends that I committed murder because of the fact that I need to lie about not committing murder.
See, and that's the hardest part. I'm a bragger by heart. So I
We
want to be
know.
like, hey, I killed that mother trucker.
It's just one of those weird topics.
That be how it be.
It really does feel weird that our last big trip together, though, is New York.
Yeah, it was that time. And
We really need to find time to do like a big thing together again.
well, it doesn't exactly help either that we had a huge pandemic. And yes, I am going to use the pandemic that happened this year to justify like 3+ years of not having a big trip.
So I understand us not doing it in previous years because a lot of us were developing. I like to put it because
Hmm.
you have me who literally a little bit over 2 years ago was basically uh I like to say rebuilding the current version. I had taken Eric 2.0 and we decided that the software was faulty, the wiring was faulty, and the shell was faulty. So let's just strip it all down and bring back the exoskeleton and try again. Um, and 2 years down the line, we're getting there. We're still in beta version of 3.0, but we're getting there. Like you've got some of us who were dealing with you know, getting their first jobs, finishing college, and you've got other ones of us who were like, I think like in different states completely, including you. You know, like, and not everybody had the freedom that they do now, where it's like, oh, we want to take a weekend trip. Okay, cool. Who can take off Friday and Monday, and who can't? And then the people who can't come down for Saturday or come down Friday night and Saturday, we go somewhere. Because I realistically think we should get people in 2 sets of cars and go somewhere for a weekend. Go to a different city or go to a different location and get out and walk around and have a good time in another city. It's hard right now because we're in a pandemic, but I genuinely think our group together for a couple days staying in hotel rooms would be fine.
No, absolutely. And like it's a lot easier now too, since then we were all working retail jobs.
Yeah.
And anyone who's ever worked retail or service industry knows that getting weekends off is absolute hell.
Yeah, almost
Um,
impossible.
yeah, so it didn't help that with that. Whereas now, more of us are on the 9 to 5 schedule, and then you have people like me who are currently looking,
Yeah.
uh, and it's going to be a lot easier for us. But like that's also just part of college. We were very, very lucky with our friend group that we still stayed in touch through all that
Well,
because a lot
that
of people lose their friend groups.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like we got it, we were put in a really lucky group of friends who, regardless of how tumultuous our experiences were, whenever we came home for the summer, we were the linchpins to keep us all together. Pool parties, driving around, late night Taco Bell runs. All of that was on the table, and it was surprising that it happened so flawlessly without fail, especially with our group having a lot of, the way I like to put it is inconsistent communicators.
No, absolutely. And like it also helped too that a lot of us still stayed in groups. Like
Mm.
you went to college with two other people, three other people of some
Two
amount,
other people. Two
two
other
other
people,
people,
yeah.
and then another person in a college right close by.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I came down here and was with one other person an hour away, and then the last person in our friend group just was quite literally smack dab in the middle of us. So I
Yeah,
mean, it was one
yeah.
of those where we could get a group of people together, and it also helps that at least I can at least speak for myself, but I feel like it fits most of us. Of all of us have very mild cases of FOMO. Of
Mhm.
like I don't like to miss out, but like I like to observe and see like, oh, you guys had a great time, such as seeing the pictures from the party where you pulled your hamstring without actually hearing about the hamstring.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Is like you get that there is the evidence of having good times and not being afraid to be okay with wanting that, but also understanding that you're excited for your friend. And I don't think everybody has that. And I think we got really lucky. Um, we got some really well developed and highly communicative people who
Oh,
can display how they're feeling well.
oh, Lord knows we have very communicative people.
that is a that is a different line of story arcs.
I don't think that there's a single time that I've had to. I think you're the only person that I've had to ever like sit down and be like, "How is Eric feeling today?"
Yeah, I was our wall.
But
But I would never not talk about it. I would just not speak about it without being asked.
I was gonna say that was mostly because, like, let's face it, you and I are probably two of the people who talk the least in our like group chat when we're not all together.
Yeah, yeah, it's actually really true. I try not to type because typing is really hard for me. Conveying a point through word or through written words is really difficult. I'd rather call you or talk to you in person because I can get across my point with body language and my tone better than I can with like typing messages. I'm a person in the wrong generation at the wrong time. In the generation of text messages, I'm the call me, I want to talk to you, not the uh I'll just Snapchat you.
Yeah, no. Like, I'm very much because half of how I talk is like hand gestures. Growing up Italian, like that's the thing. And so like, oh, quick tangent. Okay, I just became really bougie. I think I sent you a Snapchat about this. Um, but so
Yes. I remember now. Yes.
so I had I'm unfortunately a smoker. And I talk so violently with my hands that I have on multiple occasions accidentally thrown my cigarette, or I have punched people, or I've even accidentally slapped my mom. That was not a fun aftermath. But so I got this ring that I feel like I'm like Aunt Zelda from Sabrina, because I get to hold it on there and I can talk however I want and not have to worry about at least throwing that.
That is so funny. I forgot that we saw that. Oh my god. I'm in so many Snapchat group chats now. I can't handle this. I'm the most social antisocial person of all time.
I'm the most introverted or extroverted introvert you will ever meet.
Like I am in like I think 5 Snapchat group chats now, and like people will talk all day and they'll like type messages and stuff, but like I'm busy. I work all the time. So like when I get a chance I'll respond, but for the most part it's just me it's just me looking at it. So at the end of the day, people are like, "Man, we just don't hear from you ever." And I'm like, "It's not my fault, but y'all talk a lot." Like I'm in the middle of the office working with a customer and I get a Snapchat of a TikTok and I'm like, I can't watch this right now. I know what this is. This is always what they send me, but it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm standing in between 15 people working on a computer in the middle of the sales floor. I can't just whip out my phone and watch a funny video. Like, it's just not okay.
See, and that's why, like, with TikToks and things like that, I send them via text. That way, like, you get to it when you get to it.
True. Yeah, true. I've also just gotten to the point where I make my Snapchat group chats where they only delete after a year
Hmm.
because I didn't know they made that a thing.
Yeah,
I
I
was like,
set
oh, I
mine.
could read all of these in spare time. I don't have to like hold my phone and pray. If I
I
accidentally had it open when I closed my phone, I'm screwed.
I have started like every time I make a new Snapchat friend, I immediately set the chat to be like delete after 24 hours because
Mm-hmm.
I am a ditz.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello? Oh, shoot, I disconnected. 1 second.
So
Sorry?
anyway, while we're waiting for Quinn to get back, um, I hope everybody's enjoying the podcast. We thought this would be fun, and we appreciate you if you're still listening this far into the podcast. And um, we hope to be doing these at least once a week until we get a little bit more comfortable, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where like this is very much one of those I cannot English right now. Um, it's very much one of those where this is a great way for us to get all our stories out to the world, but at the same time, we would like to hear back from you guys. Hear what you think, what stories landed very well, what jokes didn't, and just be sure to keep talking with us.
Yeah, I mean, we really did this. Just I realistically like the fact that me and Quinn's energy is very much match each other when we talk, and we have a lot of fun with stuff. So I appreciate that, and it seems like a natural fit, as well as our stories seem to bounce pretty well off of each other in real life. So why not do it digital?
Trust me when I can say that we can be as smooth as the first shit after an X-Lax.
Yes, that is the best analogy I've heard all week. I'm so proud. Oh, okay, so big trip. Where haven't we gone that we can't that we can say we haven't been before as like a group? Because I mean, we've traveled a lot together. You have to remember
We've
we traveled every year together at least 2 or 3 times because of like school stuff when we were in high school.
no,
So
exactly.
so now that
Well,
we're not, Like, where do we go that is like new, or we could see for the first time without our high school eyes, where we're kind of shaded from half of the experience?
I mean, there's a couple of places that like I would definitely like to go back to without like the high school atmosphere.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, we also we've traveled to a lot of places in the tri-state area. We haven't really ventured far out of that.
Well, we've been to Ohio.
Well, I
Um,
mean, like as a group or as our little group, not like
oh, our little group? Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I meant like a lot of our little group were all together during those events.
oh, absolutely.
So that's why I'm thinking like if we're gonna go somewhere, we kind of have to do something that we could do either a bunch of little like fun stuff where like we go to like local shops and do like local tours so that we can help bustle like a smaller location, or we have to go to like a major city that we can drive to that we've been to before, because I mean we've done a lot on where we are.
No,
i mean
absolutely.
I mean there's definitely in betweens we've never been, but like personally I've been almost all of where we are.
Yeah,
And
same here.
so like as a group you've got to go somewhere that like all of us are uncomfortable so we can have fun with it together.
I agree. But like it's also one of those like I don't know, I feel like our group is that weird size where it's like great for like a day trip somewhere, but a little too much to handle for a full weekend.
Yeah, but it depends on how far.
True, very true.
Like if we're gonna do like, so here's what I'm saying, right? Like, so say if we want to do like a weekend thing, right? Like not everybody will be able to come, right? So in theory
Mhm.
we would have six of our normal nine. That's a reasonable number to deal with.
True, true.
So if you're doing 6 out of 9 and you're realistically going for a weekend, and I say a weekend in relative terms, you leave Friday, you're there all of Saturday, half of Sunday, you drive home the second half of Sunday. So in theory, you
Mhm.
need something that's 6 to 8 hours away at most.
True, true.
I'm trying to think of places that are 6 to 8 hours away from us that we could reasonably get to.
I mean,
We're in that weird spot like that if we go north, it's easy.
I can think of a place that all but one of you have not been to with me, and that is coming down to visit me in my other state.
I mean, true, absolutely. I have the
But just
intent
saying.
to. I have the intent to because I want to go see my grandmother, who lives a state above you, next to you, aside you.
Somewhere within the vicinity.
It's the one farthest to your east.
East? I thought you said west.
Oh God. Okay, never mind. I've given up on
I
trying to
only
figure out
say
directions.
I only say that because I literally like I'm so bad with direction that I just put up my hands to check for which one has the L for left, and then remembered that left is west, not east.
Oh my God. Yeah, that makes sense. I forgot. I forgot that I was the directions person and you were just the make it happen person. I forgot that's how our relationship worked. I forgot that.
I'm
That like
any other logistic I can handle. However, like simple
direction.
directions,
Nope.
no. And
Forgot.
driving, now that my car is back in one piece, driving is okay too.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, I drive a ton. I drive a ton right now. I mean, I've put 1,000 miles in my car in a week and a half. Um, I drive a ton right now for work, and it really sucks because I hate the fact that I've put like 30,000 miles on my car in a year. But I also can't complain because I have a job right now, and during pandemic times, having a job is more important than anything.
Absolutely. Um, and I put a lot of mileage on my car too, but part of that also is that I'm a DoorDash driver, so doing that, you kind of have to.
Yeah, that's definitely a different, circumstance. That is part of
Between
your
between doing that and then on top of that, driving back and forth from my home state to my school state, um, like, it's only been about a month and a half since my last oil change, and I already need another one.
yeah. I'm also on
And
synthetic oil rather than like conventional oil, so my oil changes are much more expensive, but they last longer. Um, so that's a benefit, but it still doesn't help. It's still an $80 oil change every time I go.
see, I am not a car person. I turn the key, it goes broom broom, and I go.
Car goes broom broom. Yeah, yeah.
And now my car doesn't go.
That's true. Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. You're off the car situation. My biggest problem is the fact that I live one of the most minimalistic lifestyles that requires fancy stuff. Like my room walls are basically empty. I have like some of like my favorite like things, but like when it comes to my car, I wanted it to look good and that's it. I was like I want it to be black, I want it to be sleek, and I want to be able to get in the car, fit in the car and drive. Um and like that was my only requirements.
see, my
So like
car is now sleek.
I'm not a car person, but I just wanted something simple.
My car looks a lot more fancy now that I accidentally got a new racing stripe on it. Um, because
How do you accidentally get a racing stripe? I need context.
so what happened was, um, I was down here and my friend who is also a mechanic who has been talking with me and helping me out through some repairs and such because she's an old girl. Um, was visiting
Your
and
friend or the car?
my car is
Oh,
an
okay,
old girl.
okay. I was very
My
confused about the
friend is
context.
only about like 2 3 years older than me, like
Okay.
almost to the day. But so he was over visiting, and he parked a little bit too close behind me, and so we decided we were going to run to Dollar General because we were going to pick up stuff to my other friend who I'm living with is a chef, and he was like, I really want to make brisket mac and cheese. And I was like, hell yeah, we will do anything we can to do this. So I was the one to drive because inebriation was the thing amongst the others. So get in the car, start up the car, it goes broom broom, put her in reverse, start backing up. All of a sudden, I hear scraping. So I stopped the car and I completely sideswiped my mechanic's car. Um, and it was hysterical because my car is nice and white, whereas his car is a very dark green Volkswagen. And there was not even like the tiniest marking on his car, but mine has a lovely dark green racing stripe amongst along the driver's side.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so and it's only the one side, so like the other side still looks like perfectly clean, but like this stripe also like amplifies other dents that I didn't realize were there. And before
Oh
anyone
god.
comments about it, yes, it is that I didn't realize that they were there because the way the dents are, there's no way it would have been caused by a side swipe. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean that at least your stories for your car are reasonable. I I've had two crazy ones in the past year that like I hate telling, but I'll tell them more the next time. I mean, we're almost up on time. This here, it's going to be real tough for me to, tell a 25-minute expose in 5 minutes, but we'll get to it. It's going to come. There's a lot of cool stories and fun moments that we have, and
I was gonna
we'll
say,
keep.
I feel like we'll get a car horror story episode
Oh yeah,
in one
absolutely.
of these
Especially
days.
with our chaotic nonsense. I mean, I have three where I've almost died twice. So like,
Like to put it into perspective, and like I feel like this isn't giving away too much personal information. We're both Jersey drivers.
yeah,
So
yeah. I'm a little
that I
less
feel like
Jersey. I don't speed as much as most people do. but I'm also super good at like being predictive. And like when I can't predict somebody, it's really hard for me to be comfortable driving. Like that's scary to me when like somebody can outpace me on like brain. Like that's you've done
That's how
something
I am in
so
life.
no, you've done something so chaotic that I can't predict what you're doing next. We have a problem because cars only go so many directions. If you're doing something that requires your car to go a different direction than normal, we are not safe. Something is wrong. Jersey drivers are terrifying. I
You
know
can
PA
you can
drivers
just
are
call
just
me out. It's fine.
no. PA drivers are bad too. I get on the road here and people drive 35 on a 55, and I'm like, please, there is a reason. I will drive 55 with you, but do not drive 35 because I will drive through you. I will stick a sled to the front of my car and put a roll cage inside my front seat, and we are driving at 100 miles an hour under your car and flipping you off the road. This is nonsense. Drive faster.
I would probably kill someone because I'm the kind of guy to go 75 down to 55. But I mean, those are also stories for that car episode because I got plenty of speeding stories or lack of speeding stories. I'm the kind of driver where my foot is on the floor.
Oh my god.
It's usually about like 2.5 to 3 hours from my home to my school. I have made it down in an hour and a half.
You're a psychopath. I love it.
I am.
I love it.
I
Absolutely.
put the hot in psychotic.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah, okay, it's in there. Hold on. I had to do mental spelling. I was not prepared for you to actually be like, yeah, I got this. I was like,
I know no one is ever prepared for me to be right.
yeah, it's true. It's actually not true. I expect you to be right more often. I just expect it to take a while to get there.
See, it's because I'm very vindictive. No, that is the wrong word.
That is the worst term. That is the worst term to use.
I am very confident in what I say, and so I am confidently wrong 90% of the time.
Got you. Got you.
I'm
I've
also
always
vindictive, however.
Yeah, however, that's a different context. I think that'll call it here. I think that is the end of our first episode. I think it was a great first episode. I think it was hilarious. Hilarious? Hilarious. Same word?
He
Different word?
hysterical.
Hysterical. Like it. I hope everybody enjoyed the podcast. I hope everybody has a good time. Thank you very much. And we will see you next week.
See you next week, guys. Thank you very much.